Good evening, everyone, and welcome back once again to Answers on Eschatology. My name is Dan Derry, and I'm the president of the Institute of Fulfilled Eschatology. Well, we're in the middle of a study of Matthew 24, and I want to share some more thoughts out of verse 29 with you this evening. So, let me just read the text and we'll jump in here. Matthew 24 and 29, Jesus said, immediately after the tribulation of those days, that's the first century tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give its light, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. In this video, I simply want to share with you one of the other prophetic sources for Jesus' words in Matthew 24, 29. Not only was Jesus quoting Ezekiel 32, 7 and 8, which we demonstrated in the last couple of videos, but he was also quoting Isaiah chapter 13. So go with me to Isaiah, and let's read verse 1, and then jump down to 9 to 11, and then verse 17, and we'll keep this all in context, okay? Isaiah chapter 13, verse 1, the oracle concerning Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos saw. So this judgment, okay, is upon Babylon. Watch this. Isaiah 13, verse 9. Behold, the day of the Lord is coming, cruel with fury and burning anger, to make the land a desolation, and he will exterminate its sinners from it. Watch this, verse 10. This is where Jesus was quoting from. For the stars of heaven and their constellations will not flash forth their light. That sounds a lot like the stars will fall from heaven. The sun will be dark when it rises, and the moon will not shed forth its light. That sounds a whole lot like the sun will be darkened and the moon will not shed forth its light. Matthew 24, 29. This is a perfect parallel. Jesus was quoting Isaiah chapter 13, verse 10 verbatim. And just like Isaiah's prophecy here, and these words were in the context of the Babylonian judgment, Jesus quotes those very words in the context of Jerusalem's judgment at the hands of the Romans. And watch this. Isaiah identifies who would be God's vehicle for the judgment of Babylon. Watch this, verse 17. Behold, I'm going to stir up the Medes against them, who will not value silver or take pleasure in gold. The Median Empire would judge Babylon and would fulfill this prophecy, meaning that this language wasn't literal, it was metaphorical, it was symbolic, denoting judgment of a world power by a foreign nation. And that's specifically how Jesus used it in Matthew 24, 29. Israel, Old Covenant Jerusalem, was God's covenant people. They were the light of the world. They were God's expression of his kingdom and sovereignty to the nations, and they were about to be judged. Their authority and their power was about to be extinguished by Rome, and that took place in AD 70. Okay, so this is simply another prophetic source for Jesus' words in Matthew 24, 29. Jesus wasn't speaking about a literal coming, future to us cosmic destruction. He was simply using Old Testament prophetic language, the same language that the prophets have used many times to denote the judgment and destruction of a language, often to do with covenant. Now, here's where I want to leave off. I'm going to try to keep this video short, and I want to build upon this in the next few videos. If you recall, in our last couple videos, we demonstrated that when Ezekiel prophesied of Egypt's destruction by Babylon, okay, Jesus borrowed that language and applied it to his day. And we showed you that Old Covenant Jerusalem had actually become Egypt, meaning that Ezekiel's prophecy, although it was fulfilled in history, it was typological of the true judgment of Egypt in the last days. Israel had become Egypt. That is Galatians chapter 4. That is Revelation 11:8. They had become the enslaver of God's people. They had become the house of bondage. And Ezekiel's prophecy pointed forward to the true judgment of Egypt spiritually. And that took place in AD 70. And the same thing is true with Isaiah's prophecy concerning Babylon. Babylon was judged historically by the Median Empire. We see that fulfillment in Daniel chapter 5. But just like Isaiah 32, Daniel 13 foretold the future judgment of Babylon. It was typological of Old Covenant Israel, who would also become last days Babylon. They would become the scatterer of the people, They would become the persecutor of the true seed of Israel, and they would become the defiler and the desecrator of God's temple, just like Babylon had in 586 BC. So we're going to demonstrate this. We're going to show you how Old Covenant Israel was Babylon, and how the judgment of Babylon, as prophesied in Isaiah 13, although fulfilled in history, pointed forward to the days of vengeance of Luke 21, where Jerusalem, as Old Covenant Babylon, would be judged and destroyed, and the people, the remnant of Old Covenant Israel that were still in Babylon, they were being called to come out of her, my people, and be not partakers of her sins, because Babylon, as Old Covenant Israel, was about to be finally judged, and the remnant, the righteous seed of Israel, was about to be finally and fully released from bondage to enter into their kingdom. And that took place in AD 70. So listen, we're going to go there. It's going to be good. Don't miss it. We'll see you next time on Answers on Eschatology. Bye for now.